Interviewing tips with Mr. Gladfelder and Mr. Beard. I'll start off. I think one tip I can provide is before the interview even starts, the interview actually begins, and it might sound a little weird, but actually interview starts before you show up that day. One of the biggest advice I can give you is get to know the company, get to know the position you're applying for. So when you're interviewing and answering questions, you can talk about the company, about the position. The more you know going in, the better off you will be.
Yeah, and going on that, I had mentioned in the interview you just saw about checking out the website. Don't just say you were on the website. Point out something very specific that you found, because it shows you actually have an interest. You didn't just go to the website. You actually looked around and you found some specifics about the individuals that may be interviewing you, certain things in the company you're interested in. And when you go in, you have to appear like you're comfortable, but not too comfortable. But try to be relaxed, because if you're too nervous, it's just going to mess you up. So try not to be too nervous. And they want to. The biggest thing is they have to understand: is this somebody that I can work with? Do I like this person? Are they annoying? Are they weird? Do they smell funny? Do they look funny? Is their breath bad? All those things are things that are going to give them an opinion of you, and you want the opinion to be positive. So you got to make sure all those things are taken care of before you head in there, and just don't try too hard, but be yourself and be comfortable.
A company, as Mr. Beard said, a company is making an investment in you if they're hiring you. They're not looking to hire someone for a year. They're looking to make a long-term investment, and they want to make sure they're making an investment in a person that meets their qualities they're looking for, their expectations, their standards. Mr. Beard mentioned when you go in, often you'll find yourself waiting to be interviewed. Very seldom will you walk right in the door and right to the interview. So it is important to be relaxed. But the people that will be sitting out in the office with you is important also to make a good impression with them. One advice is talk with them. Don't sit there and fidget with things, because I can tell you, as you walk into an interview, the person taking you back will probably end up talking to the people interviewing you. So the impression you make out in that main office will go a long way. Dress. I'll say you want to look professional. I know dress standards are changing in today's world, but when you're walking into an interview, understand you're dressing to impress. You're not dressing to impress students your age, you're dressing to impress people more my age, which have a different view of what is acceptable and what should be acceptable more into an interview. During the interview process, as Mr. Beard says, be yourself. Sell yourself, be confident. Explain why you are the best person for the position. Why it would be a mistake not to hire you. So you want to be confident, but you don't want to be in your face confident, if you know what I mean. You can brag, but don't overdo it. So it has to be done in a modest way. Also, Mr. Beard said, relax. Smile every once in a while. Make that eye contact. I know it's hard with nerves and everything else. You don't want to be a robot sitting there. You want to let your personality show through a little bit.
And he said, try to be confident. You can do, without sounding overconfident, you can do that through personal experiences. If you talk about things you've done, and so have that in the back of your head. Have some go-tos, some real life examples of things that you've accomplished, that just show a certain skill that you have, or a personality trait that you're really proud of. If you show those through examples and you can find a way to tie those into certain questions, it's confidence. That is confidence, without you coming out and saying, I am the best. It's showing examples of why you're the best. Personality, when you talk about your family, I talk about my family a little bit, not too much, but just enough, so that they understand that you have a personality. Now, obviously, you will not have family probably for your first interview. Don't talk about your mom and your dad too much, because it just makes you sound immature. You can maybe mention one thing that they shared with you, or something you learned from them and you respect them.
But going along with that, if you help out in your home taking care of younger siblings or something like that,
yeah,
that'd be a good something to bring up.
Yeah. You want to sound mature. You don't want to sound like a little kid. You don't have to ask your parents for permission. If you're at the position and they're interviewing you, you can say, I want to think about it if they offered you a position, but don't ask your parents. That just makes you sound childish, right? If you're working for me, I don't want you to have to ask mommy and daddy every time you need to do something. I want you to think for yourself a little bit. And big thing, social media, Facebook, Kik, get off of it if you're putting junk on, because employers look at it. I know when we hire people, we search, we Google search, and we look on Facebook, and if they have anything posted that's at all questionable, they're done, because we're not going to deal with it. We don't have time, right? We're obviously in an industry, we have to worry about what other people are seeing, but even I know people that own their own small businesses, and if they see that type of junk, they're not even going to look at the person, okay? Where you are in the community, you're going to be interviewing in the community, probably local businesses at first. Clean up your language. If somebody hears you cussing or saying something negative or doing something inappropriate, people that hire others are pretty sharp and they remember you. So don't even, the impression of you begins before people even meet you sometimes. They know other people who know you. They're going to ask around. So you got to make sure you have a good reputation. Anything else?
I think that's some good tips.
It's good.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Parrish. Over my time at Smith, I've sat in on many interviews, and some of them were great and some of them were not so great. Some things that I look for when I'm doing the interview is that you come in confident, but yet not cocky. So you come in with an air of professionalism, but yet you are comfortable enough in your own ability to do the job that you have that confidence. Also, as soon as you walk in the room, the interview begins, even if they haven't started asking questions yet. So when you walk in, you want to come in and introduce yourself to the people around the table. Hopefully you've done enough research that you should know everyone's name who is there, and know a little bit about the company as well. You also want to make sure that when you come in that you're dressed for the job that you're trying to get. So if you're coming in to be a teacher, you want to be dressed professional. You want to be dressed as you would, if you were working in that company. So it becomes very obvious when you come into a job whether or not you were prepared, whether or not you were really serious about getting the job. That also means eye contact with the people when you come in the room. And a firm handshake is always a good thing to start off with it. As you're going through the interview, if you need more time to answer a question, ask them to repeat the question. Ask them if you didn't understand, you can ask them to clarify the question. It's never a good thing if you start answering a question incorrectly, because it means you either weren't paying attention or you didn't understand the question. I actually respect someone who comes in and asks you to clarify a question before they answer it. It also can buy you some time if you're not sure of your answer. Another thing I would do is, before you go in, I would Google questions that they might ask you, so you have some prepared answers. When people come in prepared for an interview, it shows that they care about the job, that they want the job, and that they've done some extra things to get the job. So then the best thing you can do after the interview is over is to contact the people who did the interview and thank them for the opportunity. Even if you don't get a position, you might later on, something else might open up with that company and you might be able to re-interview. If you leave the room and don't ever contact them again, they may not remember you, especially if they've interviewed hundreds of people. But if you take the extra effort of sending a thank you card or even following up with a phone call to thank them for that opportunity, those types of things stick in the mind of the people doing the interviews and then might help you get the job. So good luck interviewing, and I hope you get whatever job you interview for.